Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and what do we have here? This is the first time I've ever seen fireworks on a XRP chart before. This is Dark Defender. He says magic stare for XRP, so we have a new charting term. I don't know exactly what the magic stare is, but it looks interesting, and it says here that it's a road for success. Now here's what I'm even more excited about. We've been seeing all kinds of little hints out of Brad Garlinghouse's Twitter account of what is that maybe this thing is somehow over. Now I've even talked to some attorneys behind the scenes, and I asked them the following question. Basically what I asked them is it possible, if there's not a settlement, does it ever occur where a judge doesn't like put the judgment out, but the judge brings both parties into and talks to them and says, look, here's what I'm going to do. In other words, a scenario where it's possible that a Brad Garlinghouse would know what the judge is going to do before she physically issues an order. And I was told that that happens all the time. So maybe some attorneys out there may disagree with that, but I was told that that happens all the time. And it's a very real scenario where he could know that this thing's over, but can't say anything yet. Now, maybe that's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's not the way it is, but, you know, I've asked. So, the Cowboy Crypto had put this out, and he is the official cowboy of the Digital Asset Investor channel, and this is a Brad Garlinghouse liked tweet from like the last day. Always remember, it's a quote, always remember that to argue and win is to break down the reality of the person you are arguing against. It's painful to lose your reality. So be kind, even if you are right. You know what that quote reminds me of? It reminds me of Joseph Lubin maybe losing his reality, because remember, he created his own reality. So when I see this, I see Ripple win, Lubin lose. And I see a lot of those people that were involved going down in flames. Now, let me tell you what, all of the people in crypto, the Blockchain Association, Chamber of Digital Commerce, they are distancing, they're running from this Prometheum company. Watch this. This is Ron Hammond, who's with the Blockchain Association.
Yeah, so obviously the Prometheum timing was a little suspect. There's a pretty quiet firm. A lot of folks in DC especially really have never heard of these folks, but they did get approved for that special purpose broker-dealer license. And so what was obvious, though, in the hearing is that there seems to be a little suspicious timing, at least at the SEC, in regards to the Binance and Coinbase lawsuits as well. We have Prometheum being able to register, which will, in some idea, debunk the idea that there's no pathway to registration. But at the same time, there are a lot of suspect questions in terms of, A, the talking points that seem to be reiterating the SEC's lines that securities laws is clear. And then at the same time, there was also a lot of questions about the business model itself of Prometheum. And then finally, there's some ties.
Wait a minute, something just popped across my screen. Traders believe that XRP reaching $10 could be a breeze. I believe that too.
As well. Now, mind you, again, they went through a CFIUS review as well as an SEC review as well on the China front. So, our belief is that they shored up on that end. But of course, a lot of folks in Capitol Hill especially are wondering, A, why was this the first firm to get this special purpose broker-dealer license, 2 years over the fact that it was introduced? And at the same time, it did seem a little suspicious that they were reiterating these talking points right when Congress is going through a pretty monumental bill right now between the House Ag Committee and Financial Services that would regulate and give a pathway for crypto exchanges to register.
All right. And then we have this. I asked the Chamber of Digital Commerce if they, what they knew about the Prometheum guys. Perry Ann Boring, she says, as of early 2023, Prometheum is not a member of the Digital Chamber. We do not have any info on their business model beyond what is publicly available. So kudos to her for giving a reply and letting us know. See, this keeps happening to me. It shows that I've unfollowed Eleanor Terrett, which I did not. Okay. So Eleanor Terrett, there's going to be an oversight, the SEC oversight subcommittee hearing on Thursday. And she tweeted this out, that their Division of Trading and Markets oversees FINRA. And it will be interesting to see how many questions the Trading and Markets Director, Ho-Zing Zhu, who sounds Chinese, will get about FINRA's approval. Okay? So he's the Trading and Markets Director, Chinese guy that was in MIT. I've already looked him up. Okay? And he's overseeing FINRA, and FINRA is the one, my understanding that they approved Prometheum, okay? Now, if you've ever wondered, folks, if Congress, I've seen this many times on Twitter, oh, what's a tweet going to do? Well, let me show you what a tweet's going to do. This is a tweet that I did. If you think Congress is not paying attention to what we're saying out here in social media, the truth that we're showing, I showed this weekend right here. Watch.
Mr. Kaplan, what percentage of your company is owned by a Chinese entity?
I think approximately 20%.
20% of it. How much influence do they have over your company?
They have the same rights as other shareholders.
How much access do they have to intellectual property?
Wang Zheng has no access to any Prometheum code or technology or system, server, or customer data.
If they're on the board of directors and have access...
Something I didn't mention, it's very obvious that this guy has already got the questions. I wonder if Elizabeth Warren gave him the questions like she did Gary Gensler.
All your data from the standpoint of being an investor, how do you answer that question like that?
The bylaws were changed in the filing that was filed with the SEC on November 2021, and they basically limit who has access to data, including directors.
Okay, where's the data stored right now?
In the United States.
The third advantage is on the tech side. Prometheum's lead investor and technical co-founder is Shanghai Wanzheng Blockchain. And basically, we have 50 plus blockchain engineers working on the Prometheum project. Shanghai Wanzheng Blockchain is considered the preeminent force when it comes to blockchain engineering talent in the world, and they're really our partner. They're not a third-party service provider. They're a co-founder of this company. Their vice chairman, Dr. Shao, sits on our board, and we work with them hand in hand. And with their expertise, we've been able to rock and roll. And we're going to be demoing for FINRA, we anticipate, next month of our ATS and our blockchain, which we hope will then lead to a quick approval and being live before the end of the year.
Wow. So Tommy Tupperville comes in. He's one of the, if I can get this computer closer to my mouse, we can fix this problem. Okay, so Tommy Tupperville goes on yesterday and says this.
We brought this issue up, it's been almost a year. When we saw the possibility of the Chinese companies possibly getting in, investing or owning our crypto exchanges. And so people need to really understand China is our number one threat to this country. I think our people know it now. We've pushed it. I think most people around the country understand it in most situations, but somebody needs to tell our financial regulators, people that work for Joe Biden in the financial world. The SEC needs to wake up, because just recently they've approved a exchange to be partly owned or financed by Wang Jack, a Chinese financial company that is going to be deep involved in crypto in this country. And we don't need to lose our data. We've already got enough problems. So Christian Gillibrand and I have come up with a bill to possibly block Chinese companies from being involved in the crypto world here in the United States. But if we don't get some kind of help out of our financial regulators, we're going to be in deep trouble before we know it. And so hopefully we can get them to wake up and start understanding that they are a problem and going to be a problem, and we need to protect our financial companies.
There you have it. That is social media making a difference. And now we have our Pentagon has announced that they've lost $6.2 billion. My question is, how many hundreds of people are being fired over this?
Broadly. Following up from...
You don't have to listen to that video. It's too stupid to listen to. Pentagon announces an overpayment of $6.2 billion to Ukraine and calls it an accounting error. Now, what would happen to you or me if we did anything bordering on that in our real lives and lost that kind of money, whether it's for a company we worked for or did something like made that kind of an error in taxes? What would happen to you and I? You and I would be screwed. But that's the problem, is that there's no accountability for these people. Just look at Gary Gensler. Anybody else on the planet Earth would have had their butt not just fired, but they would never hold another position in government again after the way that guy's behaved. And this guy's still sitting there because nobody has the balls to do what needs to be done. And this guy's still sitting there. It's crazy. It is crazy, and it's destroying this country. It's insane. All right, this is not insane, because this is James Wallace talking about XRP.
You know, there's been a lot of discussion around stablecoins being used to solve some of the same issues that you've just outlined. What's your take on the stablecoins versus CBDC debate? Can stablecoins do the same thing?
I think from a technical functionality point of view, there's not a big difference between stablecoin and CBDC. The real issue is who's issuing it and who's backing it. So we do see a world of coexistence. I think CBDC will become ultimately the preferred digital currency for a lot of people, because they feel safe and secure because it's backed by the central bank. But we see them coexisting, and it's the same way that we see cryptos coexisting. You know, our Ripple network, as you may know, uses XRP as a bridge currency between currencies, as a way to negate the need to pre-fund accounts. We call it on-demand liquidity. So we think all of these different digital currencies have a role to play and will all coexist.
All righty. And then we've got this, just in $1.5 trillion asset manager Invesco reactivates spot Bitcoin ETF filing. And then we had this one, $94 billion Wisdom Tree has filed to launch a spot Bitcoin ETF. So all of these guys are seeing each other. The BlackRock come in and all these different people. And so they're piling in here. Now, something has activated all these people, folks. You have to wonder if this Ripple lawsuit's about to be over and this market's about to freaking explode all the way around. I'm going to finish with this. This is from the General Counsel of Coinbase. The Third Circuit just ruled that it will retain jurisdiction over our challenge to the SEC's inaction on our petition for basic rules for crypto. A further report is due in 120 days. We are grateful that the court will continue to shine a bright light on SEC process, John Deaton says this forces the SEC to provide a real update on October 11th. The court is calling the SEC's bluff. The court could have dismissed, but chose to exercise continuing jurisdiction. So they're telling the SEC, look, you've got to tell these guys if you're what the deal is with this petition to get basic rules for crypto. So now you can imagine this guy's backed about as far into a corner as you can be right now. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that in any sane world, Gary Gensler would have been thrown out on his butt, fired, never to have a job in government again. But we don't live in a sane world. We need to get these people out of our government so that we can actually have our country back. Thanks for listening.